Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half, round two of, what was it, Three Lawyers and a Lance?
I think it's Three Lawyers and a Lance.
You got a new show.
Yeah, I like it. We can't do this every week. We can't spend that much time around lawyers.
No.
No, not Lance and I.
No.
But anyway, take it away, you guys.
Here we go.
All right.
Andrew, who do we have?
All right. So right now we have Sellano Simmons.
Yeah.
Another lawyer.
Yeah.
So Sellano is visiting us from D.C. That's a big deal.
A little bit.
Kind
Yeah.
of. I mean, it's states away.
It is.
That's
It is.
exciting.
Been to DC land?
I have been
Yeah.
to D.C. I got stuck in D.C. I got sick in D.C.
Oh, boy.
We went for a Rainbow Kitten surprise concert for New Year's Eve at, what is it? Is it the Anthem? It's right there down by the wharf or whatever.
There's an Anthem by the wharf, yeah.
Yes, there you go. That's where we went.
All right.
And
All
then
right.
I ate something down there that,
Didn't agree with you.
it just didn't work. And then it snowed. And
It
do you have
snowed
any
in
idea-
DC?
Yeah, and you know what happens when that happens?
The whole city shuts down.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it gets weird.
Like, I've never had a flight canceled so early. It was like a 4 p.m. flight. It's like 7:30 in the morning. Like, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I'm surprised you even made it from your hotel to the airport.
Oh, we didn't.
DC gets very weird about snow.
Yeah, they hit us 12 hours early and said, just don't even
Yeah,
leave
think
the
about it.
hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Grocery
like,
stores get cleared out.
Yes.
It's weird.
it was.
It could be a
bonkers.
light dusting. They're not familiar with snow at all.
Oh wow.
You should have seen me jumping over puddles of just like, and people are looking at me like I'm a madman.
Yeah.
I can
was
believe that.
traversing this city the way that somebody from there doesn't.
In a snowstorm.
Yeah, they're like, is he doing parkour? What is going on? Right?
So
DC's great.
DC.
I like DC.
So I haven't been to D.C. yet. Don't tell anybody.
Oh, wow.
You
I
gotta
didn't
have
know
a
that.
conference.
I know you're always
I've never
saying you're
been
going to
to
come
DC.
visit, but I didn't know you
Yes.
have not been.
I've never
Calandra,
been to
did you
DC.
just say you've never been to D.C.?
I've never been to D.C.
How close did you get? I mean,
What?
there's like six
Yeah,
of those.
isn't that
states
crazy?
fit
That is
Jersey.
weird.
Yeah. Now New York, that's my place.
Yeah, but you're a well-traveled person.
I know, but I just
Nuh-uh.
have not gone.
Clearly she's not. We're learning now.
Okay,
We're learning
sorry.
now.
I thought you were a well-traveled person.
Your whole image of me just changed.
I'm sitting over here trying to do work. I'm like on the computer, and I heard that out of the corner of my ear
Yeah.
there. Like, wait a minute. Never been to DC? You?
Yeah, I've
Weird.
never been to DC.
Oh,
I
right.
really,
We're gonna
I
make
really
it happen.
wanna
Fix
go.
this.
Yeah.
You
This
two.
is great.
I really want to go.
I want to come.
Yes,
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
That'd be
awesome.
great.
I want to go to the Black Museum.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I want to go to Bus Boys and Poets
Yeah.
that we've talked
Yes.
about, that restaurant. And
Yeah.
There's just so many things I really want to see,
DC's great.
What?
and I will go.
What's going? See, busboys and poets, right? So
Uh-huh.
I get the busboys part.
Okay.
Now the poets part, is that just like your server is a poet? So you've
no,
got, like,
Sellano knows more about that.
It,
I'm gonna move
it
my
could
phone.
be. I think anyone who goes in and eats the food becomes a poet. You know,
There
It's
you
just
go.
A good vibe with the books, with their little library. It's just a good place to be. They do have a stage there, at least in one of the areas, DC. So I think events happen there. I've been there for several events. So
Sure.
yeah, the potential is everyone's a poet.
It's just a good name.
Just a good name,
what
Busboys
it
and
is,
Poets.
right? You
Yeah.
don't need to have great expectations outside of you're going to enjoy it.
There you go.
But probably not going to be a poet.
You never know. You never know.
Right?
You got to try some of their food. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
I dig it. I can't wait.
There's always time left.
So Sellano is also the shit. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
So last year, Sellano spoke at my event for Minnesota Association for Black Cannabis Professionals. It was the first event we put on.
Yeah.
And he was one of the panel speakers. So Sellano is quite influential, esteemed, and quite famous defense attorney. I know
writing
you.
her a check right now. I'm writing her.
Hidden. I heard famous.
I
was
know.
like, what?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I'll
All
tell
I
you
heard
why.
was expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
You can be all
So
of the things.
there's been some media around cases he's won, some quite high profile cases. He's also been one of the attorneys, January 6th,
Yeah.
right? It's one of
Yeah.
the defense attorneys.
Yeah.
And he practices between Minnesota and D.C. He's of counsel in Texas.
Texas, yep. Specifically Dallas, yeah.
But he's a big deal in federal court. So,
So if I ever get in federal amounts of trouble,
yeah, you better call him.
all right?
Just
Yes.
don't come around D.C. around January 6th. That's all I tell you.
Yeah.
Don't.
Leave things alone.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, I knew it the first time, and I was like, I'm not going to. I don't need to be around there. Looks busy.
A lot of my friends decided to visit, and they ended up needing me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's going to tell us a little bit about his work, his practice.
Great.
But he's going to talk to us today about the business of running a business. And this is an intro into a 6-part series that both you and I will do separately. So I will
Does that
branch
make
off.
it? Does that make it a 12-part series, or is it 2 separate 6-part series?
It's 2 separate 6-part series.
We're
so-
just figuring this shit out.
I lost
Figuring this
count.
shit out.
Ambitious.
How many-
2 separate
getting there.
6-part series.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like a revival. Did you go to revivals when you were a kid? And it's like all week.
It sounds
Yes.
like
7 parts. That's it. This
a
is
revival. Sounds
This
like
gonna
church.
be a
little bit,
revival.
a little
It's
bit,
gonna
yeah,
be
a
kind of
little bit.
churchy. We're gonna take you to
Right.
church. So
Is it like a mini conference?
it is like a mini Netflix series.
I still don't know if y'all doing 6 of them or 12.
I know.
Y'all lost me.
So
Y'all
if
lost me
Landry's
with the
going to do
math.
6, I'm
You're
going to
gonna
do 6.
Yes.
And they're going to be on different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah.
sides, different areas, and there's no way we can cover the things that we want to cover in just one. So it'll be a
Right.
multi-part
Right.
series, just with different
Yeah.
specifics.
I'm gonna focus more on the business aspect, technical parts of
Lawyer part, legal
lawyer part, running cannabis business.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to go more in depth. So I'm going to be, here's the way I look at it. I'm kind of going to do the outside structure.
Sure.
You're going to do the inside
I think-
structure,
yeah.
the nucleus.
Yeah. I don't know why I was going to. Before he even said it, I was like, nucleus.
Nucleus.
Really?
Nucleus.
Yeah.
I can't even say the word.
I think it's because
Yeah,
the
it's 'cause
green
you're thinking
elevator.
Too much nuclear.
yeah, that's what
you know,
The green elevator took you to the top, your drink.
There you go.
the elevator will
Yeah.
take you where you want to go.
Nuclear.
The elevator will take you where you want to
Yeah.
go. Yes, and that's the plan.
Right.
So-
I mean, I've got time,
Yeah.
right?
I want to know more about Green Elevator. I know I'm supposed to talk about business, but I just
Sure.
want to know a little bit about Green
Yeah.
Elevator.
Yeah, Green Elevator's just it's a fun brand,
You're,
right?
you're kitted out, head
right.
to toe.
Well, I mean, you're your own best billboard, right?
Yeah.
Love
So I like to just go to events and billboard.
All right.
I just
There
walk
it is.
through and mill about and see what people wonder, catch them looking, which is fun.
Is it the beard? Is it the beard, or is it the? Is
I
it
think
the
I think
hat
there's
and
really
the
good
shirt?
design on the shirt. You know what I mean? I think it's a good
like
logo. I think that I think it pops.
Yeah.
The beard definitely. People are like, well, I don't know. A lot of questions usually that I'm sure somebody is asking, like, well, how long did that take to grow? What does he have to do with that thing in order to get out of the house in the morning? Like what?
Is there
I
someone in
always
there
sleep
if
on
we-
this one side. That'd be really weird. Like I think people just ask themselves a lot of those questions, and
I'm sure they
that's
do.
what's probably fascinating about the beard.
I've asked those questions, Lance, internally.
For sure. So three beverage brands: lemon teeny, orange teeny, and lime teeny.
Okay.
Organic juice, organic cane sugar, and touch of sea salt, just to round things
Wow.
out.
And THC, don't forget.
Yeah, there's THC in there.
10
so that's-
milligrams.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I call it a spritzer. The lime and the lemon, they're tart and not overly sweet.
Okay.
The orange teeny is just lightly sweet and easy drinking.
All right.
Really what that comes down to. And then 3 gummy brands. Lemon cake. Smells like lemon cake, right?
Like
Like
it
when's the
already.
last time you smelled your gummies is what I like to ask people, and usually people don't have an answer. And if they do, I still shove a bag of gummies in their face and they smell them.
Especially lemon cake.
I know.
Yeah, lemon
And then
cake
they smell them and they're like, well, these smell better. If they did say, if they've smelled gummies recently, I go, great, when? And they're like, well, last night. And I'm like, sweet, smell these. She's like, well, they didn't smell like this. So if it smells good,
Yeah.
probably tastes good.
Sure.
Right? Like when we think about like taste,
Yes.
like what is the sense that's mostly being used there is our sense of smell. So if you can't smell anything good about your gummies and you're still eating your gummies, you already know what's going on. So hopefully by putting these brands out into the market, we can get people to understand that they should be smelling their gummies. And then their gummies will taste better because their nose would have already told them.
Lance,
And
you are more than just your beard, Lance.
I know.
So let the
Thanks.
listeners
I
know.
appreciate that.
And you can
appreciate
find
that.
the gummies and the drinks at Goodzen.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
For sure you can.
And that is a business that you created.
Yes,
I
yeah,
love
that's
it.
my dispensary.
Yes.
So you can. We've got the lemon teeny and the orange teeny, and all 3 gummies, and we've been giving out samples.
I love
of the
lawyers who
gummies.
start other businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you get bored.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this figured out.
Calandra's hands is everything. So when she said, I'm starting a business, I'm like, oh, great. Good.
Which one are you thinking about?
Good bit.
Yeah.
Good bit. A dispensary.
oh,
I said,
yes.
let's do it.
Beverage brand? Let's do a beverage brand.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Have to sell some Slay beverage. Oh, you want to do this? Oh, maybe I may want to open a coffee shop. Stop it. What are you up to?
For the record, I did have a sleigh last night. I did have a sleigh.
Yeah,
Yes.
you had a
Yes.
sleigh beverage
I
last
did.
night.
You
All
guys
right,
put me
did
to
you sleep
sleep.
good?
Yes. Strawberry lemonade. Am I saying
Yeah.
it right?
Oh yeah.
Strawberry
Yeah.
lemonade last night.
That's our bestseller, the strawberry lemonade.
Yeah, I love them all. But
Is it gonna see because it didn't? We're both. I would say in the infancy of the beverage market, right? Not only where we exist within the beverage market for THC across the country as well as Minnesota, but how long you've had a beverage brand. And so strawberry lemonade sounds lovely, but lemonade, when we hit winter, what happens to our head? And that's what scared me with lemon teeny, and that's why I needed to come out with something else pretty quick. And I know you've got more brands other than the
Yeah.
strawberry lemonade, but strawberry lemonade sells really well right now.
It does.
What do you think's going to happen for winter?
I think people are going to shift to the berry
Yes.
Okay, I
and
think so
the
too.
mango peach tea because the berry is like a sangria, a
delicious.
little bit spritz, and that's my favorite. And then
Ice or no ice?
ice for me.
Ice for you.
Yeah. Now the mango peach tea, I put that over ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plot twist.
really
I
good.
like it. I like it.
Yeah, it tastes so good. But a lot of the men prefer the mango peach tea because they've been adding bourbon
Yeah.
whiskey to it.
Yeah. Nobody. So in Minnesota, just so that you know, we can't advocate for mixing
Right.
these things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if you're in Wisconsin, listen,
All right.
there's no rules.
Okay.
And
know
but
where I'm having
Minnesota,
my sleigh next.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. In Minnesota, don't mix them.
Okay.
We know what your crazy cats and dogs are going to do.
Yeah. Now
anyways.
you can mix the flavors because a lot of
course.
people mix the flavors.
Mixing the flavors
They
is
mix
great,
the berry and the mango peach teas.
Yeah,
they
and then
really
some
like it.
bourbon. Some bourbon fell
It's
over.
like it's,
There's a spill somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
But
'cause-
my glass cleaned it up.
Just a splash. So on that note, though, right? So because we know people are going to do that, I'm enjoying the reduction in alcohol consumption. Is my thing.
Yeah, I don't even have like a taste for alcohol the way I used to. Like I would want a glass of wine or go out and order. I don't even have the desire.
Right. And so I say that because I can easily have how many fingers of whiskey, right? So you've got your low ball, you're having it neat for the first one, couple of cubes maybe for the second one. I don't get to the second one. I mean, I get to the second one, but it's, like an ounce, right? And in Minnesota, an ounce of non-alcoholic whiskey with Lemontini, with Slay, with, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be lovely. Like that little kick of other flavor
Yeah.
in there, the mocktail world that we live in. But in Wisconsin, 1 ounce of bourbon and then ice and
A can
fill
of
it. Fill it. And now you are not going to ingest nearly as much bourbon as you were going
Yeah,
to.
good point. Good point.
So-
Now I heard it was a safe space, so I'll let you guys.
Sure
know.
is.
I'm a teetotaler. Drinking
Yeah.
for me is not really my thing.
Yeah.
I was afraid of THC because I don't even imbibe. So
Yeah.
Slay was my first interaction with any THC at all, and I was very nervous. And Calandra had poured me just a little taster.
Right.
And I said, "Oh wow, this is good." And from them, I'm a believer. I do have a can or two when I'm in town. So I'm trying to get her to get out to DC, but
Yeah.
it is a good drink, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. We've actually been asked for DC Fashion Show. we've been asked to put Slay in 91 VIP bags. So
great.
We're working on that now.
That's a lot of
Yes.
VIPs.
It is.
That's a lot of Slay.
Yeah,
A lot of Slay,
it is. It is a lot of reality show folks
Okay.
who get those VIP bags, and so we'll see.
Just
what
bring
they
some
like.
extra and leave it to the
I
side.
know,
I'll
I
take
know,
care of it.
right?
I'll take care of it.
Falls off the truck. You know what I mean? Just falls off the truck. I actually opened my back door because I had too much beverage in the back of my car, and now I'm sitting here thinking, "Gee, I'm gonna have to like get a Tahoe or something, you know, like a
That's what I've been thinking.
right." I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
haul enough because
Yeah.
the payload. I got 900 pounds, so if I've got 40 cases
Holy crap.
in there. About 20 pounds a case. I got 800 pounds in there. I'm not 100 pounds. So I'm overweight immediately, right? And it's like, I'm not taking any less because that's 2 full layers. And so now I'm like, what am I going to do? But anyway, so I
Good
get to.
excuse to get a new vehicle here.
I know, but I want to be as fiscally responsible as I can, and in a startup, that's just a bit of a mess, right? So I get to where I'm going, normal meeting, go to my back passenger door, just throw that door open, 2 cases of just beautifully packaged orange
tumbling
genie,
down.
just yard sailed right out on 28th Avenue.
Oh no!
In front of Buster's on 28th. And I'm just like, oh, hell. So then I just sat there and I'm like, well, I'm going to drink them anyways, you know, and I just put them all back in there and
Lance
tried.
said yard sailed.
Yes, yard sailed it. You know? Well, anyways, we've had a lot of fun so
man.
far.
Yeah.
Should we talk about
Should we talk about business?
business? I mean,
Well,
we've been kind of.
before we get there,
Yeah.
I think his background's really interesting
Ah.
because you will never guess like the places this guy has lived and
Ooh.
what he's done. So
Okay, like Guam or.
Well, let's get into it.
yeah, so tell us where you went to school,
Yeah,
where you grew up,
Sure.
all that good stuff.
Born Fairbanks, Alaska. I was raised in Minot, North Dakota. I tell everyone I meet, I'm the only black person you've met from Minot, North Dakota.
This is true.
And without hesitation, they say, no, I know the other one. I say, yes, I know him too. I won't say his name here, but he's also an distinguished lawyer here in the Twin Cities. One of my good friends, but grew up in Minot, North Dakota.
Hashtag, why not?
Why not? Because reason's the reason. That's
There you
right.
go.
That's right.
Having
Oh my
fun.
God.
Yeah, a good Magi
That's how they try to
graduate.
sell you to go there.
Yeah.
Really?
Like when I was working for Verizon, they were like, why not, why not? And I'm like, where'd you guys get that from? I mean, like Nebraska's like, seriously, don't come here. You know, like there's nothing good going on.
Well, Minot would love to have you. Let me tell
for
you,
sure
Minot
they
would
would.
love to have you. You got to bring the beard, Lance. You can't come alone. The beard must come.
I would go there if they didn't do some ridiculously dumb stuff with their laws requiring it to be a 15-1 CBD to THC ratio.
Oh boy.
Man,
Yeah.
gross.
Maybe it's time to go back home and
Say
work on that. I got to work on that.
They got to get something on the ballot up there. You know?
Graduated high school, Minot, North Dakota, went out to Howard University, which is a historically black college university, and I fell in love. I've never been exposed
Georgia,
to
right?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
nation's
why
capital.
I don't know why I think it's always in Georgia, but it's not.
No. That's a lot of other ones are.
That's her.
Right.
I know
But
you
the
didn't.
one-
You didn't go to Howard Land.
No.
Yeah.
You're welcome to go to. When you come visit me in D.C., we will go.
Then
to
we
Howard.
could go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will
Sweet.
go.
Yeah,
It's-
and you got to
the
come back
time.
with a shirt.
yeah.
With the shirt?
Yeah, you got to wear it
gotta
on the show.
Does it say why not Howard?
HBCU.
It's the HU. We're gonna put the Howard on you.
Okay,
man.
Yeah.
cool. Let's do
It's
it.
gonna look good with
Okay.
that beard.
Oh,
I'm
of
telling
course
you.
it will.
Yeah,
Right?
love it.
It's
This
it's
is
the shirt
hilarious.
that
it's
makes
the
it.
shirt. It's the shirt that
For
makes
sure.
it.
Yeah, I'm down. We're going to DC. I forgot. I
love
want
it.
to
Field
go to
trip.
Georgia. I want to go to Georgia too.
Yeah.
Why not?
I
Why
think we
not?
should have a busy winter. How's that?
I think so.
We'll
Too.
make it work. We'll make
All
it
right.
work.
It's going to be great.
All
So,
right.
Howard University undergrad and stayed because I loved it. Howard University Law School. And I got a phone call to come out here. Worked at Dorsey and Whitney after law school for 5-6 years. Went in-house to Target Corporation and then started my own practice where did criminal defense. I still do criminal defense work. I do plaintiffs work against various corporations for various discriminatory acts. And relocated to Washington, D.C., where I do both civil still and federal criminal defense work. So life has been good and work has been very busy. Calandra gets me back and forth here to pick up more cases, and we've been running ever since.
Yeah.
So both
Yeah.
Minnesota and D.C. we're trying to lock it down, and things have been good. But
great.
in terms of having a business and starting a business, it is you're not taught that in law school, how to run your own business. And I think for anyone who's doing it, I say do it for various reasons. It's that watching Mitch talk about having the ability to have expression and creativity. I think a business gives you that, for you to have your own brand, for you to get out and be your own billboard, Lance.
Right.
You know, it gives you that outlet. And when you begin your own practice, it's just something about ownership. You know, it's something about, and you'll never work harder, you know,
Right.
for yourself.
Yeah.
You'll never watch the pennies more than when you're working for yourself. And it's just a great opportunity, again, to have the greatest expression of yourself by saying, I own this is who I am to the world. And you get out every day and you go to win. You go to win.
Yeah.
And it's been a good ride since.
So last year you spoke at our event.
Yes.
On the panel, and there were a lot of people there.
Yes.
And a lot of people have never had a business before, but all of a sudden they want to make this huge leap into the cannabis space.
Yeah.
Why do you think, and there were tons of questions for you. I remember, like, it was just so intense hearing what you had to say. And I think it's important for people to hear you today, to talk, because there are people listening to this.
Sure.
We have, thousands and thousands of viewers, and they're listening to this and they're thinking, I want to start a cannabis business, but they've been working in a job for 20 years.
Yeah.
But, and these are, a lot of these people have not been cannabis users.
Yeah.
They have not been cannabis advocates, and this is just really new. So what do you think is going on? Why do you think a person would want to leave a stable job where they are getting a consistent paycheck, they can budget their money, to jump into the abyss, or this non-regulated, it's somewhat regulated, because,
Right.
like I say, we're still building the plane as it's flying.
Yes.
So why would they want to jump on this plane
Yeah.
that is still being built and leave from what they know to what they don't know?
Yeah, I think two things. It's the challenge and opportunity. People really see the opportunity that this new law, this new industry is providing. And let's face it, everyone wants the challenge, even those who just want to surf on their couches. They really want a challenge. But more than that, they see an opportunity here. So I always talk about bridging. If you have that 9 to 5 where you've been working, don't just jump out here by yourself. Bridge. That is, find another company that's successful. Find a mentor in a business. It's like anything. In a law firm or in law school, we're big about mentorship. You have to find someone who's in the business, follow them around, talk to them. And you could do that on the weekends. You could do that after work. You don't have to just jump out here and have your kids starving because you have an idea and you see an opportunity. But you can really build relationships first to find out, hey, is this for me, and what are the tools that I need in order to be successful? I didn't, when I started my own practice, I didn't just jump out there. I kind of did, but I strategically rented an office space right next door to the individual I wanted to practice with, who's now a judge in Ramsey County. I had told him I was going to rent this office space. And when I showed up the next week, he was very surprised, but that was the concept of bridging. I needed to align myself with others who were doing what I essentially wanted to do, who were what I wanted to become. And I encourage people, just like at the event, because of the masses of questions we were getting, was don't just jump out here tomorrow and do this.
Yeah.
Find someone who's in the business. Find the Calandra Reverend who's doing this and doing it well. Study on the laws and regulations. Make sure you open an account. This first step you ever do in a business, open up a checking account under that business. Register it with the state of Minnesota first, and then grow from there, learn, and really just be open. And I think I heard Mitch say it earlier, be vulnerable. There's a freedom in being able to say, this is what I don't know. One of the things I thought I always needed to say to clients was, I know the answer. Oh, I know the answer. And when I was a associate at Dorsey and Whitney, I heard one of the partners one day, he said to a client, he said, I don't know, but we'll find out. So since then, I've been teaching my kids, you can always say you don't know, but you better say you're going to find out. And there's a freedom there to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, oh, I could run this business, oh, I could do that. Most people who start businesses have failed. Elon Musk, his first business failed. You know, a lot of these business folks, first business fails. So in order to mitigate from that, bridge, build relationships, and talk, and be open and vulnerable about what you don't know.
That's real.
And I still do that today in my law practice. There's a lot I don't know. I talk to Calandra. I talk to a whole group of folks, you know, that are in the industry and doing what I still want to do and love to do. So I
So,
encourage them to bridge.
so you talk about mentorship. What are some of the components too of running a business? Not just cannabis, but just before you even get to the cannabis space. And I know folks can reach out and talk to you about retaining your services to start a business.
They can?
If they're not being criminally charged.
Yeah. Or they
That
can reach
too.
out for
Or
my
they can
business
reach
if
out
they
for
are
that
being
too.
criminally charged.
We can work on both of these at the same time.
I got you coming and going.
We
I
just
got
need
you
to-
coming and going. I got
we
you
just-
coming out the door or running through the window. It doesn't
Lance
matter.
is like, it's okay. You can do both.
You can do both.
We can do both. Don't worry.
Sam,
You
I
can
got
go
him
to
either way they
court.
coming,
You can-
Sam. We got him covered.
Sam and I, we locked eyes when you're like,
Yeah.
don't just quit that job. We're like,
Oh, you mean you're not?
sometimes the best way to do it.
We're only sitting here today because we threw ourselves into everything.
I know.
Right.
We're like, oh, what are we up to? Well,
We're here today. We're here today, okay?
Here today.
figure it out.
So-
I did say it was opportunity and challenge.
Yeah. And then bank account and register with the state. So
Yeah.
we've got those steps.
Yes.
Register with the state and a bank account. Now, cannabis. If it's a bank account, I don't know.
well,
figure
yeah.
it out whenever
Figure it
you
out.
can figure it out.
Yeah,
right. But for
massage
normal business, register with the state and bank account. For cannabis,
Yes.
I think we should be saying register with the state technically. Right?
Technically.
So Department of Revenue, and then also register with the Office of Cannabis Management.
Yep.
That's correct.
If you're in
Yep.
Minnesota.
Yep.
Or whatever you do in your
Yeah.
state, right? It's just a different name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what?
And then follow this law. It's changing every day. This thing is a moving train, and as Calandra already said, you know, the plane is still being fixed in midair, right?
Right.
You have to follow this law. We've been
Yeah.
looking at this law almost every week, going to various meetings that they have,
Yes.
Because hosting events. I know,
Yes.
Calandra, you just hosted key personnel at the dispensary.
Yes.
Goods In.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, it's important to.
That was a good show. I did not know what I was. Well, it was a little meet and greet, and then I come in there is like
It's a big deal.
spread.
It's a big deal.
There's a DJ. Like Calandra when Calandra invites you to a meet and greet,
Yeah.
what she means
Yeah.
is it's not a rager.
It's a party.
It's not a rager, but
party.
it's for sure a party.
It's a party.
It
You're
was
gonna have a
great
good time.
It
You're
was a
gonna
great
have a
time.
good time.
It's a party.
Thanks,
And
thanks for letting me be there.
You are
It
welcome.
was nice.
You're welcome. And the food is always has to be right. Because I was raised that if the food isn't right, black folk gonna talk about you,
Yeah.
and that's the last
Yeah.
thing you want. So, oh yeah, we had ribs, we had
heard.
brisket, we
I
had
heard.
mac.
Who
We
was
had,
it? Who was it again? Let's plug them.
Who the caterer or
Yeah, the
meet and greet?
Yeah, the caterer.
So the caterer was Just Paula's.
Mm-hmm.
It's owned by Anthony Simmons, and he also
No
has
relation. No relation.
no relation.
Sellano Simmons.
He also has a stand at the farmers market
Oh,
every weekend, and
So you could go there and try it
You
before
can-
you
yeah, you
before
can go
you
there
and
and
hit
try
the whole
it.
event with it.
and he's doing a special too, barbecue spaghetti. Yeah, I've never had it, but people have been talking about it, how good it is.
It doesn't sound terrible.
I'm willing to try one thing.
It doesn't.
I'm willing to try it. Do it once.
Yeah,
Anything
it's
once.
barbecue spaghetti.
I got questions.
Anything once.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
But
I've heard it's really
we
good.
can go to the farmers market.
You can go to a farmer's market.
And
It's
we
called Just Paula's.
check it out.
He's on social media, but the food was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We had Rich 2K DJing,
Yeah.
and the meet and greet was with Jessica Jackson.
Sweet.
We had some.
But
some folks-
who is she?
She
who is that person
She
again?
is the new social equity director with the Office of Cannabis Management.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
we had lots of good people there. We had Union Bank there. They are big players in the cannabis banking industry,
Yeah.
and
They
at some
like
point they'll be
cannabis.
on the
They've been
show.
working in cannabis for a
let me
long
tell-
period
let me
of
tell
time,
you,
right, is what I
They've
heard.
been doing
Establishment.
cannabis for 10 years now, and their experience was in the medical cannabis space. So they are extremely cannabis banking friendly.
Got it.
So I know at some point we'll have Denise on here
Yeah, we will.
talking about what they do over there at Union Bank and Trust, I
Yeah.
believe.
Anybody else we should mention before we hop back into next steps in business?
We had some folks there from the state. We had
Did we? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Man, you should. Like, they didn't
Yeah,
even.
we
They weren't
did.
wearing badges or nothing.
they. You probably didn't.
Should have let me know. I mean, I knew the director was coming. I was prepared.
Lance, we don't want you just running and gunning to them. We want you just, building the relationships organically.
Yeah, there we go. Who are you again? What? I'm Lance. Hopefully you don't come in.
Well, she was there. Her wife.
Everything will be fine.
Her wife came into town, and that was really nice to be able
was.
to
They
meet
were
her
great.
spouse and get them accustomed to folks here in Minnesota.
Right? Yep.
Yeah.
I just realized, Lance, you said, and sorry, this is where my mind is at. You said lemon cake, but there are other gummies.
There's
What
two
other-
more.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
give me
Mini
those flavors.
donuts.
Mini donuts is
Uh-huh.
fire.
Mini donuts.
Yeah.
And then have you ever
Molten
dipped like a
fries.
molten fries, right? Have you ever dipped like a fry in a Frosty or a fry in a
course.
molten
Who hasn't?
chop or whatever?
Who hasn't?
There are some people. I know, weird.
Have they not been
Weird.
to Wendy's? You
So
do it right in
good.
that frosty.
So good. So yeah, I recreated that in a gummy.
Get out of here.
Yep.
Why are we talking to me? We need to talk more about. We need to understand, Lance. We need demonstrations and
I
samples out here.
I
Lance.
know. I know. We most definitely do. And that'll be part of my series.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Yes.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
Well,
Can I come
we-
back for your series?
For sure, for sure. One's just going to be called Sampling Party. And they're like, "Whoa, that doesn't even seem like it should be
We're gonna
in
make
that
sure you stay in
series."
town for
know?
that.
Sam's trying to figure out how to produce that now. I know.
Yeah.
He's like, just let them keep throwing
Just
it at the
let 'em
wall.
go for
That's
it.
why we got a bunch of geometric patterns on ours. Just throwing shit at the wall.
Hey, whatever sticks. Whatever.
Oh,
So
going. This is
yeah.
You've lost me. Mini donuts and the.
mini donuts, molten
Yeah.
fries.
And
I've got
lemon
I've got some other fun ideas. I've got a whole list of great ones, and I try to keep them quiet because sometimes I see some things popping up on the market, and I'm not like,
see-
oh, that was just mine. You know what I mean? Like I'm flattered, but better flavor is all that I'm trying to do to bring to the bring to the
Well,
people.
see, I'm
just
glad
bring them
you-
better flavor.
I'm glad you said that because that goes into another question I want to ask you. But there's a lot of people who say, I want gummies.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea what flavors are, which is
Right.
what your series is going to talk about.
Sure.
So I'm going to talk about business, and that's what Sellano's leading us into. Just kind of the foundation.
I'm either leading
Why do you
into
want
business or more edibles. I don't know, but it's fun either way.
Both.
Yeah,
Both.
you're at the ground level. This is what your team like. Why do you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do
Yes.
this? But a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people. They say either one, I'm not sure what I want to do. I just know I want a cannabis business.
Right.
Or
They don't know
two-
what area
They-
of cannabis they want to be in.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, we think about how you're a lawyer and you're like you just want to be. You can practice law in other industries.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of lawyers that are like, well, that kind of seems a little bit more fun over there.
Yeah.
And it's because our vibe is better than a lot of other industries.
so.
I'm not
Think
saying.
so.
I mean, I am calling out almost every one of the other industries based on like vibe check, right? Like,
Yeah.
It means a lot.
Selling cannabis, it is a good vibe.
Yes.
It's fun.
Right.
You see people happy, like you're actually helping them
Absolutely.
with their
Exactly.
ailments, whether it's pain or sleep or just plain feeling good. And it's great conversations, you know.
Yeah, and I mean that's the reason why you were
Yeah.
asking the question. You're asking the question about why? Why would somebody leave a job that they were in for 20 years? Well, they're going to have the reasons already. That's why they're already looking for something. But if we were just solely looking at the opportunity of it, I think that like you look at like a lawn care business, right? What does it take to start a lawn care business? Same thing, get a bank account, register with the state, right? Okay, cool, you've got that done. Now you have a lawnmower and you have yourself, and you can go and mow lawns, right? But let's just go, all right, I need this. I got to have a truck. I don't have a truck. I need to have this trailer. I've got to have this lawnmower. This is what we need in order to do it. And in cannabis, the buy-in, right, when it's not regular. So if we talk about, and it's hard to say this, non-regulated and regulated, because the bulk of it is regulated by the 2018 Farm Bill and then the new Farm Bill and everything like that. So it is technically regulated, and in some states there's more regulation around the hemp side of the plant, right? For this sake, starting in the regulated market, that being the marijuana piece of cannabis, that has a very high bar of capital entry, right?
Right.
But on the hemp side, it's not as cheap as starting a lawn care business. If you had a truck and you had a trailer and all you had to do was buy a lawnmower for $3, $4, $5 grand, right?
Yeah.
But you can put a beverage into market. You can make some gummies. I mean, the amount of money that you need in order to do this, and then great recommendation on bridging, right? Like sometimes you get laid off and then you're like, well, what am I going to do? Well, that wasn't of your choosing, right? But if you do have a choice in it, do some of that bridging, find yourself a mentor, talk to the people, go to the events. There's events all of the time, canna clubs and all of that fun stuff. But to get into the hemp side of cannabis, you just kind of got to decide what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
And the quantities are small enough, and don't get yourself too wrapped up in, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be paying that much labor, or I shouldn't be paying that much for that package. If you're paying $1 a bag, which you shouldn't be paying $1 a bag, but let's just say that you're paying $1 a bag for your gummies, your gummy bag.
Yeah.
Right? That's a very high cost. But if all you had to do was run 400 bags, and that's what you're going to start with, who cares if they're $1 a bag? They're not 30 cents a bag. They're not 20 cents a bag. That's what you start when you start to scale.
Yeah.
But be okay with, well, this is just for right now. Right? It's just for right now. And you can start small, right? The same way that we talk about ingesting cannabis, right? Low and slow, right? You don't need a whole lot of it. Take your time with it. Everything's going to be better. I think that's exactly how you should be starting the business if you have the opportunity.
I like it.
But what's interesting is you get a lot of people who want to go into the cannabis business or any business. And they're not going to understand what you just said to scale. So how do you think people should even start to learn business terms? Because they have no idea.
Yeah.
I would think it would be really hard for someone to sit in a meeting. They're thinking about starting a business and they don't understand what's being said. It's kind of like listening to us talk, right?
Yeah.
People aren't going to know some of the legal terms you and I throw out. You and I will know.
Sure.
But like Lance, he won't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to know a little bit, but...
You had to point right at Lance.
Listen.
Yeah.
Look at that dummy over there.
I know a little Latin
That elevator ain't gonna take them to the top on these.
You could have thrown it at me.
Yeah, perfect. I love where it was thrown. I enjoy
Latin.
it. Yeah, I know a little bit.
But really.
Oh yeah, if we went all crazy and into the weeds,
But basically accounting terms.
Yeah, but to your point, because there are some people who have just said, "Hey, I'm just diving out there. I'm doing it. I'm going to go for it." That's cool too. Do you?
Right.
Start where you can. I always say start. I never tell anyone not to. It's like when we went to law school. Lawyers would always say, "You want to be a lawyer, or you shouldn't be a lawyer." You're a lawyer. Why tell me not to be a lawyer? So anyone who wants to get in business or get in this business, I tell them start. Start where you're at. And that may be small. YouTube is such a freaking, you don't have to go to university to learn business. Go to University of YouTube. YouTube University works. Get online. You could do your research there. Verify it, obviously, but start where you're at as long as you start, because you will. If you start and stay, those two things have to be together. You will begin to grow, and you will begin to grow to scale. But you got to start. If you don't do that,
right?
you'll remain, just looking at YouTube clips and trying to figure it out. You don't have to enroll in, in all these colleges, spend all this money, go to these classes. Although events such as yourself, Clandor, when you have them around the community, Lance, any and everything you're doing, get out, go to these events, see these people. What was it? It's the can of what? You just said something about the cans, the club of cans.
Oh, Canna Club. It's like it's a Canna Club happy hour. It's at Earl Giles, right?
Join
Wednesday night.
associations.
Yeah, there's a St. Croix one. There's a St. Croix one too that's down by the river.
Join these associations, join these groups, just show up.
Yeah.
Start, because when you get around it, Lance will be speaking the legal terms just as well.
Sometimes it's immersion,
Three
right?
lawyers and a Lance,
Yes, 3 lawyers and a Lance. We're going to have to do this one again. This is good.
Sellano, I get so many people who have absolutely no business experience.
Yeah.
Don't need it.
Right, but and
Like,
we're going to talk about another issue with that you do need to have with business, but they've never been to an event.
Yeah.
Like I've asked them, have you been to a conference? Have you been? No.
Yeah.
Like and when I say zero, like I've had people say, well, I've just Googled everything.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Google ain't going to cut it.
It's not going to cut
They
it.
didn't go anywhere?
got-
I mean, I understand
No,
not
no.
going to a conference, but did you go to like 6 different stores? And did you
No.
go into the smoke shops and look at what those are?
No,
And
nothing.
no research
Nothing.
except for like
Here's-
you're behind the screen
Here's
doing your
what
thing.
I think people are going off of. They watch the news and they hear the news talk about this is a $1 billion industry.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And they want a
Yeah.
piece, but
Yeah.
they haven't
Wrong
looked
reasons.
at what exactly.
Fucking wrong ass reasons.
And
Stop it.
I tell people if you're
You're like,
in this
"There's
for
money
money,
there."
you're in the wrong business.
You can make money.
Just you can, but if your
That's not what
sole
it
goal
is. Yeah.
is to make
Yeah.
money, I think you're gonna miss the point. And not that
For sure.
everyone has the social justice reference like I do.
Right.
Okay. When me and my husband have this piece, he says, "Clandor, everybody doesn't think like you."
Well, that's true.
That's
Guess-
true.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody
but-
thinks like you.
Yeah,
That's true.
but who listens to men, right?
You do?
No.
No.
Nobody. I think the answer
That's
is
a question.
nobody.
That's a question for the
Answer.
comments, isn't it? Like I was like, where are
no
we
one-
going
Is
here?
that the right answer?
I'm just being totally funny. But I understand people don't have the same social justice reference as I do. But I think if they're just in it solely to make money, they're not looking at what they have to spend, and they're not assessing the risk of being in business
Yeah.
for yourself. Not just cannabis, but being in business. So
Yeah, and back to if I
Yeah.
jump in back to
Yeah.
Lance's point too. There has to be, and this could come in various forms, some capital because you got to start and you got to
Yes.
stay.
Yep.
And you've seen where I know when Minnesota started talking about this, we immediately looked at California, and we looked at how California, specifically African Americans, were. Didn't have the ability to stay. Several of them bought storefronts. Several of them bought transportation vehicles, waiting for the law to be enacted. Well,
Right.
4 years later, they're selling the cars for cheap because they can't afford them. The storefronts that they purchased for lease signs on them, they're being foreclosed on, right? So you got to think about how can you stay? You look at Minnesota now. The law is still being shaped, formed, right? We're still trying to figure out what it all is, how it's going to look. There has to be an ability to have some staying power. That I don't know if that's pooling resources. I don't know if that's starting small, just where you're at, and then building up incrementally. One of the things about being a Midwestern boy, we don't put stuff on credit. If I can't buy it, well, then I'm going to work until I have the cash to buy it, So don't, I think a lot of people jump in this, $1 billion. I know marijuana. I smoke weed. That's not going to get you far just because you smoke weed. Yes. I don't smoke weed. I'm profiting off of this bill because of my lawyer skills, right? But and just because I don't smoke weed, I'm not saying, I love folks who smoke weed. I love this. Smoke more weed, right?
That was some real good lawyering right there. You know, like
right.
totally backpedaling.
Yeah. No judgment. No
Oh,
judgment.
shit.
I don't
I'm
want
on a
people to hear
weed
that
show,
the
aren't
wrong
I?
way. I don't want people to hear that the wrong way.
He does drink sleigh beverage, so that's very
beverage.
important.
You're good. You're good, Sellano.
But start where you can. Start and stay is the biggest thing, because if you sit here and say it's $1 billion industry, let me jump in, you're gonna jump out or be pressed out. So start where you can, get out, meet folks, see what things are going on, and learn, because this is a monstrous industry, but you got to position yourself right. You know?
Yeah.
So
What are some of the attitudes or the thoughts a potential business owner should have? Like, should they be flexible? Should they be open-minded? Because, like I said, they've been working in the same job for years, and that's all they've known.
Yeah.
But to be on their own, it can be scary.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
So tell us like a little more of that mindset they should have.
You just have to be resilient. You have to be resilient every day. You have to be resilient. You have
I think that's what they need to hear.
You have to wake up and say, I can do it. You know, when I first started law school, the first week of law school is very scary, right? Because you're being assigned 100 pages in every class. And I said, oh my God, I made a mistake. Why did I do this? And then I saw this kid walk by who I went to school with in undergrad. And I said, wait a second, I know that guy. He wasn't that smart. And now he's a 2L. He finished his first year of law school. If he can do it, I know I can do it, right?
Right.
And you just have that resiliency to say, let me keep going, because you're going to get knocked in this business. You know, there's going to be someone who said, oh, that was my idea first. I thought of that. Or that's what you want to bring to the market? Some mini donuts, right? Who's going to, they don't want to smell their edibles. You got Slay who wants to stick in this thing, be resilient. There's room for everyone, but you got to start. You got to get in this. But resiliency is the attitude you have to have, which just says, hey, no matter what happens, I'm going to get back up and keep going.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting you say that, and you brought back, going to law school. I remember taking the LSAT, my best friend sitting next to me. And I remember her just kind of being in the frozen position. And I looked over at her, and I saw drops of blood on her paper. We were both quite nervous. Her nose started bleeding, and she ran out, and she stayed out there a while. And I knew, it was over. She wasn't going to finish. But she never did it again. She canceled her score and just never went back. And to this day, she still wishes, she would have done it. That was like 25 years ago. And then I remember, and I said, after that, I said, I have to keep going forward, keep going. And I remember my first year, I was a single parent. Okay, I was on welfare, Section 8, moved my Section 8 up here. And my mom had moved from Vegas to help me. And I was thinking so many times, is this a mistake? I've never been in Minnesota before. And one of those times where I was feeling like that, I was in the library studying, it's all quiet. And all of a sudden, and I will never forget, I'm in the library, we got our little tables, got our stuff. And I'm just reading, and all of a sudden, I hear this guy screaming, I can't take this shit. And I looked up, and he just took his book and just knocked everything off the table, and he started screaming and ran out of the library. You would have thought he saw a mouse or something. And he never came back. And I said, I think I'm just going to stay here.
Everything's
because
gonna be fine.
somehow all of this got to him so bad, it made him react like that. Whatever is going on with him. And I said, I think that I can make it through. And I did. Still some challenges along the way, but I never forgot that. So being resilient is really important, because you are going to have moments where you just want to say, fuck this, I can't take it. Yeah, and run out into the street. I don't know if he was naked, but I'm sure some people feel like that.
Lance, question for you.
Yeah.
Is that yellow cake in the molten
Lemon cake, malted
cake.
fries,
and mini donuts?
and mini donuts.
Are those at Goods Inn?
Yeah.
If I go to Goods Inn, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
That
Yeah.
shit smells good.
I just want to. I just want to know where I can get it.
good.
It's
I just
so
wanna know where I
like when
can
you
get
smell it, it's just like,
I've never had an edible. Calandra is always trying to give them to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid to fly with them.
Oh, don't be.
I think I don't know the rules of that, so I don't.
Right.
And I haven't tried them.
You can actually fly to Mexico with my gummies.
Okay.
I mean, other people's
Can I fly
gummies.
to DC with your? I would love to go to
Yes, you
Mexico.
can. You can. Right. Yeah, I brought, I don't know, 500, 600 milligrams of edibles down with me to Mexico.
I'm a black man, Lance. Don't set me up now.
I understand.
Black
So
man
you know
coming
what
to
you know what
DC, I
it's
don't
like
wanna-
to waste some time when you're stopped.
He's-
You know what I mean? So I was gonna say what you need to watch out for is just in the case that it's gonna take you more time, but it already takes you more time to go through because you're like black guy.
Search it.
Totally, I hear you. I hear. I
all
see
right, as
that.
long as
I
it's-
see that too. But you're not gonna worry about it because they're already stopping you. So then they're gonna see
There you
that and they're gonna
go.
be like, he's
there
cool.
you go.
Cool.
Well, I know I'm going over to Goods Inn and I've never tried them because I'm one of those guys who's nervous.
Yeah, they're already. I use a split mold, so that there's already a good line that's already in there, so that you could tear it in half. So your 5 milligram edible becomes a 2.5 milligram edible at that rate. You can go even lower and slower than that, and then tear that in half again. But I'm not putting. We don't need to go that far.
yeah.
Right.
That's it.
But I want you to be able to.
microdosing. Yeah. And we've got a new product too for people just like yourself. We have each piece is 2 milligrams. Actually, I think it's 1 milligram.
Okay.
And it's got 10 milligrams of CBD.
Okay.
New product called Drops, which I'm sure there'll be a sponsor now, right?
Sure.
But
That's how it works.
Let's work on that, Sam.
Yeah, but you know, folks who want to take it, during the day, and just you're not high, you're just feeling good,
I was at a conference in LA recently, and all lawyers, we go to dinner, and there's this young lady passing out. Hey, you guys want edible after dinner? Hey, you want an edible? I was like, to be polite, I took it and
Right.
threw it out because
You weren't ready for it.
I wasn't ready for it,
And that's great. That's totally fine.
But more importantly, she didn't say, I got yellow cake, I got lemon cake, I got lemon cake, mini donuts, and
Yeah, you can call
She
it
didn't
by
say- she
you
didn't
can
say the
call it
right
by
things,
its color. You can call it by its color. They're yellow gummies.
But I want the lemon cake. I want the lemon
I know the
cake.
lemon cake's so good.
it is. So let me
Like
ask.
you actually get the cake
Yeah,
flavor
it
in there.
tastes
I
really,
like the way
really
he
good.
describes it too. I'm like,
know.
Yeah, it tastes. I'm gonna like cut it up into like 6 pieces.
I'm gonna try
for you.
it. I'm gonna try it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I need to.
Cool. So for people who want to start a business,
Yeah.
how do they know which area, like gummies or cultivating or dispensary or, transportation? Like, how do they hone into what they really want to do instead of just, I want to open a cannabis business, and they're just kind of spinning their wheels. They really don't know what they want to do. What should they think about to like get tunnel vision about the area they want to go into?
Get exposed. If they get exposed, if they go to these meetings, these associations, these events, the exposure will drive them to where they can be, because they're going to look and say, I smoke weed every day. I know how to grow it. I know how to do. And then they're going to realize when they go to these associations, these events, oh, you know what? All I have is my Nissan. Let me go into transportation and drive around, this stuff and do deliveries, But exposure, seeing more of it, getting out. Every time I talk to you, every time you're in a different state, I know you like to go to Nevada. You say, I walk into these various dispensaries because you're getting ideas, you're getting understand. You know, hey, this is how they're doing it. This is how they're treating me when I come in. This is the type of presentation they're giving. If folks get more exposure, I think that will drive them to where they can actually be successful. And they'll see, oh, wait, just because I smoke marijuana doesn't mean I can grow it. Just because I grow it doesn't mean somehow I'm going to have this huge distribution site or center. I think that the more exposure, the more people get out and see what's out there, they'll know which lane they should get in.
I think you are 100% correct, because I'm not a grower because I can't grow shit.
Yeah.
And I knew that going in. But I like dealing with people. You know, I like talking to people. I like having conversations, and I'm kind of a general salesperson. So I was attracted to the dispensary part of the business. But what I also noticed was the drinks. Like I would try a THC drink and they were nasty. Like there were some that made me cough.
Yeah.
There were some I could taste the THC. And then I said, you know what? Instead of me buying products that I don't like, why don't I just start my own?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I got into the industry, because I found I just couldn't find what I like. But I also found that, in my opinion, culture had a lot to do with it.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't see people who look like me who are making these beverages.
Yeah.
And once I made something that I like, and culturally I found that it fit,
Yeah.
then that's when we started growing. So you're 100% right, to get out there.
Yeah.
And find something that fits your personality.
Absolutely.
Like, I wouldn't feel right trying to be a grower and I couldn't talk to people about what to grow. Let me tell you, it's a challenge, and my husband kind of messes with me. I try to grow tomatoes every year, and now I'm fighting with the rabbits. and he just looks at me like, why do you do this?
Yeah.
And because all the plants in the Goods Den are fake. We even have fake marijuana on the walls, which is cool. People they're like, is that weed? It's fake, and they touch it, and they see it's fake.
They're trying to light it up.
Yes, and we have all kinds of
Didn't come from
stuff.
Calandra's house.
She
doesn't grow nothing.
It's all fake. I don't.
Disclosure was Lance
don't
was the
grow
one who tried to
shit.
light it up.
You know,
but
you
anyways.
can grow them out of a bag.
Yeah, I'm not
Hang
doing.
them up and they grow.
I'm not doing any of
No
that.
rabbits,
Okay.
unless you got flying rabbits.
I'm not. So I don't know anything about soil, water.
Clearly, Lance
lights.
does, is what I'm
Clearly,
hearing.
Lance
'Cause
does.
Lance
I
grows it
just-
from his ceiling. He just said.
No, I just know people
You
that
do
do
grow
these
weed
things.
from the ceiling. Tell
Sometimes
the
you
truth.
don't have to know how to do it. You just have to know the person that does.
How did you know your flavors, Lance? How did you know lemon cake would pop?
Well, lemon is lemon. That's
Said
it.
something about the seasons. Lemon is lemon even in winter.
Well, no, that
good
was the
question,
thing that was
counsel.
that was the thing that, like, if it says lemonade on it,
Yes,
it's not. Nobody in Minnesota is drinking it in the winter.
They're drinking my drinks in the
they
winter.
are drinking those.
I know, but it's strawberry lemonade.
Let me tell you, that
You know.
strawberry lemonade is fire.
I know
And Island Peggy down in Treasure Island, they sell a good amount
a
of it.
good amount of it.
They do. That strawberry lemonade, that'll get you right.
I know. I got to get
Yeah.
in there.
So
Yes.
winter time, I'm not maybe doing a lemon teeny, but what am I doing?
Orange teeny,
Why?
lime teeny.
Why not?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the other fun thing. You can add whatever you want to add to it. It's going to stand up to it. Right? But lemon cake, it was lemon. So it was just going to be the easy thing. You've got to have one that's just right down the middle.
Yeah.
Right? And then mini donuts, nostalgic. Right? It was a nostalgia play.
Yeah.
Is really what it was. I'm talking with my kids and I'm like, so what about this? What about this? What
Yeah.
about this? What about this? And we're writing all of the things down. And I still have more.
Yeah, yeah.
That are just fantastic. Like, I think that and I'll just say it, I think I'm crazy enough to do a chicken and waffles, a chicken and waffles gummy.
Yeah.
Are you
So that's
serious?
that's one that's been on my
love
list.
it.
So if somebody else wants to mess around with
Let
it,
me
I'd
tell
love
you
to
something.
taste
You
it. but
better do that.
Absolutely.
I will.
You heard it here first.
You
folks.
better
Heard it
do
here
that.
first.
I will be so pissed off
It'd
at
be
you
so good.
if you don't do a chicken and
I
waffles.
know. I just, we got to get there. So when I order new bags, then maybe that's what'll happen.
There it is.
Because
Got
I mean,
to.
the formulation on this stuff, and that's one of the other things that you might think when you're coming into business, right?
Yeah.
My first gummy I had within a couple of months, right? A couple of months of saying, boom, go, let's get this done. I had it within a couple of months. The other two flavors took me at least 4 months. And I already had the packaging, I already had everything. It just needed to be formulated. So I'm waiting on time at the production facility. I'm waiting on flavoring from the flavor houses.
Yeah.
We're mixing, we're doing the things, we're making labs smell like French fries. Like, it was it was really cool. But I think that's the sneaky thing
Yes.
that's here, and that's when you're talking about you need to start and you need to stay.
Yeah.
And the sneaky thing is that time will get you, right? Like they were waiting on
Yeah.
licensing, they're waiting on that, they're
Yeah.
waiting. That's why the bridging would be important.
Yes.
But I had the first one. Well, great, I've got one.
Yeah.
It's way better to have three.
Well,
right?
Sellano, can you talk about patience? Because
Absolutely.
what you just said about 4 months.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
took me about 6 months to get my beverage out.
Yeah.
Because the labeling, that took a while. The
Design,
formulation,
label,
design,
yeah.
testing.
Formulation.
So, you know, people who work, you know, they work 2 weeks, they get their check, and, you know.
That's right.
So they sometimes come into business with a microwave mentality
Yeah. Yeah.
that they want it now. So,
Yeah.
can you talk about how important is patience when you're starting your own business?
That's why you hear me say, you know, and Lance, going back, like how you said, well, some people, they just were forced out, so they got to do it.
Yep.
Go for it. If you can maintain your 9 to 5 as long as possible, do that.
Preach.
Do that.
Yes.
I started my practice here in Minneapolis. We knew we always wanted to get back to Washington, D.C. I had to work, had no intention for ever working for anyone again, but I had to work 9 to 5 in Washington, D.C. I did that simultaneously. I'm setting up my business down the street. I'm getting the office. I'm getting out, meeting the lawyers. I'm getting around where I know I want to be. But I kept that 9 to 5 going.
Yeah.
You know, now some days they were looking for me at that 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
I'd walk down the street to get my furniture moved in my office and ran back to work. But you have to have patience with this thing. I just wanted to tie this back in. Me asking you about how'd you know the lemon cake would pop.
Right.
You know, you sitting down with your kids. Calandra talks about Slay. You know, this was something I knew I would like. And also the cultural fit. People need to understand that you are successful when you begin to create something you would like for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Because while we all are all individual, we have our own separate story, we're more alike than not. And that commonality, someone says lemon cake, yeah. Someone says, I've dipped my French fry in my Frosty
Right.
once in my life. I like
Yeah.
that flavor. Slay, I can get behind this. I too can identify with the LGBTQ community. I think I forgot a letter in there somewhere. I can
There's
identify
plenty
with that.
more letters that go after
Yeah,
it. too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And,
Yeah.
and
Great.
I can identify with that. So even though we go about these things because we say we like them, there's other people too that are coming down that lane saying, so do we.
Right.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and, you know, even working, you know, when I started my practice, I worked at New York and Company, a clothing store.
Yep, yep.
I worked at Rogers and Holland.
Yeah.
Part-time little jewelry store.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Calandra's like fancy. Calandra's like, before I was a lawyer, I did these things.
Right.
I'm like,
I was
that's a nice
I
little
was
job.
building my practice.
I get it.
Yeah.
And still working,
She
you
was-
know, a
she
little
was- she was a
part-time
lawyer.
job.
Still.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And you
saying.
and
Like
I-
she's just building.
Yeah, and you and I had the same mentor.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
But you know, I think about when you went to DC, you kind of worked, like we would talk sometime. You like, I'm going to my little part-time.
Yeah.
Was it like the spinning class and you saw like Michelle Obama or something?
Yes. So I had a midlife crisis where I worked for, gosh, why am I drawing a blank?
When does a crisis like that actually happen?
Yeah. I'm drawing, this is embarrassing. I'm drawing a blank on the
It was like a
it's only the
spinning
best
class.
spin class in the world. This is embarrassing. Sam, we'll have to edit this part out. I can't even.
Yeah.
Oh
think
boy.
of the spin class.
That's
Anyways,
right. Spin classes.
Michelle Obama would ride there. Why am I blanking on this name? This is embarrassing.
I'll look it up.
Everyone, thank you.
Yeah. You keep going.
It's only the world's best spin class
It
ever.
was like
Just-
soul
And this is
spin.
out in
Thank you.
DC.
Something.
Soul Cycle. Please
Soul
forgive me.
Cycle.
Soul Cycle.
All right.
Soul
So,
Cycle.
anyway, so we're talking about Soul Cycle.
Soul
and
Cycle. Thank you, Lance.
You're welcome.
I'm a full-on attorney in the morning because I loved Soul Cycles. From 5 to 8, I'm at Soul Cycle in the morning, working there. I took my first Soul Cycle ride. I said, I love this place. I want to work here.
Yep.
Working front desk, still full-on practice. So I'm working at Soul Cycle in the morning, showering, going right to, and I was not an instructor. Someone said, you're an instructor? I was not an instructor. Look at me. No, I'm not an instructor. I was working the front desk. and then going to practice law.
Yeah.
My wife was like, "Are you okay?" And I did it for about a year. I absolutely loved it.
Right.
Was able to ride with Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris, and Doug came out, and that's the senators came out. I rode with one of the justices, Justice Kagan. Helped her get fitted in the shoes and the clips. It's DC, so all the DC bigwigs would come out and ride, and it was great fun. So again, I think what we're trying to say is keep your job while you're building your other job.
And that's what I want to bring.
Now that was a midlife
up.
crisis I just described.
Yeah, I want to talk about the where's the
I didn't
midlife.
see
That
it.
was the midlife crisis.
Yeah,
Was the
soul
soul
cycle.
cycle?
But
Yeah,
see,
soul
I didn't
cycle. What are
see
they
it
doing
as
there?
a midlife crisis. I saw that as someone who was determined to make the self-employment thing work, come hook or crook, and that was admirable to me. And it did something you didn't know this, but that encouraged me, someone who is self-employed, to keep going. That, you know what? This is one of my best friends. He has a full-on practice, but he said, you know what? I'm going to get up, and I'm not a morning person, but I'm going to get up. I'm going to get there at 5 in the morning, and I'm going to put in this work.
It was all for the perks.
Yeah.
Here's a more admirable story if you like that one. People don't know this story. While working here in Minneapolis, as an attorney working at larger law firms, I had a cleaning business at night.
Wow.
And I did that because growing up in North Dakota, my aunt owned a cleaning business. So me and my brother, we would work at night, clean these businesses. And my brother, who's still he's now in Fairbanks in Anchorage, Alaska, he has his own cleaning business. I've always wanted to own my own business because I saw my aunt doing that. We had a cleaning business here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Wow.
So at night, I would be literally changing into a uniform, taking my kids with me. They're about 8 or 9.
Right.
Sometimes my wife would come out too, cleaning businesses in the evening.
Yeah.
And that lasted for 4 years. We
Wow.
did that, and that was
Wow.
just so we could have something of our own.
Yeah.
And it was a great time. It
I
taught my
love
kids
it.
great work ethic, and that was kind of more of a really wanting to have my own.
Right.
Versus Soul Cycle was I just wanted to ride with First Lady.
Fun.
Yeah. But I think that's really going to resonate.
Sure.
With a lot of people who want to have their own business.
And it's resilience.
Yeah.
You do what it
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
to stay out here.
Right.
To stay.
Yeah.
And I went into practice for myself because I worked at a firm and I was there for about 6 months. And, you have a supervising attorney and they would, critique my memos of law, my brief. And I just felt like I couldn't grow into the lawyer that I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Because there was no one there that looked like me.
Yes.
Sure.
And I had my own ideas about criminal defense and why someone was doing something. And, it was, and I was always right about things, but it took a lot getting there. And I'm like, why am I struggling with this?
Yeah.
And I said, never again. And I then went to work for another employer. And I hate those emails that say, can we have a meeting? I tell you, that gets under my skin.
Can we talk?
Can we talk? Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, who, didn't like something I said or the way I said it. And then you find yourself kind of changing who you are.
Yeah.
You accommodate this workspace full of other people. And
Well,
I said,
in life
I got to.
too, right?
Yeah.
Happens in life
yeah.
too. But this is a specific
Right. But
example.
But I'm just talking about the space where you earn your money.
Right.
Because we spend most of our waking hours in a day at work.
Yeah.
And I said, I have to be me. Because I believe the way people are at work, that's how they are at home. And if you're changing how you are at work, it's really hard to be who you need to be for your children or your spouse at home. Now you're two different people.
And we've all been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I just need to be consistent throughout the day. Like,
Another reason why you go into business for yourself.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say. Exactly.
How you are.
How you are. You
Yeah.
be you. Who are you
Yeah.
comfortable being? Like, I just say it.
Right.
I'm from Milwaukee, and we're just gonna say it. I don't know how to sugarcoat it. They do things a little differently here in Minnesota that I found.
Sure.
But I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, you're being authentic, right?
Yes.
So you're saying it happens a lot when you're in your teens and you're just trying to figure out life, and probably early 20s, and some people never grow out of it. But you get to that point where you're like, no, but this is, and they're like, well, that wasn't, and you're like, well, that's me. Right. So when you're just being your authentic self, and hopefully when you're being your authentic self, you're also a nice person. But sometimes we got to be not nice. But, you're out there, you're being that, you're putting good, hopefully, out into the world and being your authentic self. Then oftentimes you're going to find a whole bunch of other people that are like that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when you're out in the world and you're faking something out. Right. I understand the fake it till you make it. Right. Totally get that part of it. We're not talking about that.
Right.
But we're talking about faking who it is that you are to appeal this way for whatever it is. Don't do that shit, because all you're going to do while you're being fake is find fake. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be finding fake. You want to find the cool people that are, sometimes not like-minded, but at least they're good vibe followers. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why you may want to jump into this business.
Yeah.
You'll find your people.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. So
There you go.
So I think, are we calling time here?
Well, you're like 48 minutes overtime, but that's okay. I'm just kidding.
Do that.
It's our show.
It's our show.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
We're in control.
It doesn't matter. Plus, it was an interesting conversation.
It was good.
It was.
We'll break it up into different segments for our audience, but no,
Okay.
you guys are good. So
Yeah, that was great fun.
thanks for everyone listening.
All right.
Thanks.
Say goodbye, guys.
All right.
See y'all.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
All right.
Appreciate
Cheers.
y'all, man.
Appreciate
This was
it.
fun.
Good. All right.